First episode for this new podcast, I got the opportunity to interview Brigham Young University Hawaii junior Emosi Sukanaivalu. Emosi is currently completing a bachelor's degree in applied mathematics with minors in anthropology and entrepreneurship. Emosi is from Fiji. He's a kainongo of mine. We come from the same province in Fiji. He has an incredible passion for figures and farming, the latter being the reason I wanted to talk with him. Emosi had recently presented in a research conference held at the BYU Hawaii campus, where he talked about a project that he conducted at the Lanahuli Gardens of the BYU Hawaii farms, in which he studied the types of farming methods and practices being used there. He talked about how traditional practices such as mound plots and modern practices, creation systems, were integrated within the farm. We also talked about the unique anthropological methodologies that we used in this project. A uniquely Pacifica method that he used was talk story, which is similar to the talanoa methodology, where the researcher creates safe and mutual dialogue with interviewees. Emosi has also dropped a lot of incredible gems that I know would benefit you, from talking about the struggles of growing up in Fiji, to the power of belief, to the need for community support for success, and lessons learned, which I greatly listen. This young lad has a passion for figures and farming and has such a bright future ahead of him, and I'm extremely glad that I got to spend time to dive into his story.
Bulu Vinaka, this is our first podcast here with the host, myself, Alfred Tora, and this is my first guest, my Kainongu, Emosi Sukanaivalu. He's currently in BYU Hawaii, and I just wanted him on because I heard about his presentation that he had done a couple of weeks ago, and I thought it'd be interesting to just start with him. So, Bulu Vinaka, Emosi.
Proven apa, Alfred?
Yeah.
Bola.
Bula, so would you like to, I think, first of all, if you could just introduce yourself and just let the guests, the audience know where you are, what you're doing, and whatever you think we should know about you.
Okay, sure thing. Yeah, thank you so much, Alfred. Okay, so my name is Emosi Sukanaivalu, and I'm from Fiji. I'm currently a student here at Brigham Young University in Hawaii. I'm a junior, and I'm majoring in applied mathematics with minors in anthropology and entrepreneurship. Um, well, just a little bit about me is that I really like working with numbers, so that's why I'm majoring in mathematics. And also, I like doing outdoor stuff like farming, playing sports. And one thing I really like that is interesting to me outside of school is hiking and also playing rugby.
Okay.
So
Yeah, and I heard you're part of the Tano Rugby Club there in Hawaii. You guys on top of the tables right now. You won last year, and looks like you guys are going to be winning again this year. So, congratulations on that part.
thank you.
Yeah. So, so applied mathematics. Yeah. So I know um another person from Fiji, Joe Taliu, who's also doing mathematics in BYU Hawaii, and I think it's interesting to to note that both of you went to Marist. Is that right? Or
That's correct. You.
yeah,
But he's older in school.
yeah. That's the second best school in Fiji, behind the Queen Victoria School. Yeah, but yeah, but no, it's really good to have you here. So we just wanted to talk about um this presentation that you had done in BYU Hawaii. My wife was there, Grace, and she had talked about how she had been part of that the audience for your presentation. She really liked it. So could we just jump onto that? Yeah. So what was the title of the presentation, and could you just talk a little bit about what it was on?
So yes, so this presentation, this all came about when so this is all part of my anthropology minor class, and part of it was to participate for the undergraduate research conference that happens here at BYU every year. So part of that class was to participate in that and come up with a research project that would help not only community members but students, and also how it can apply to us back in our individual countries. So the research that I did was just based here in school at the BYUH Lanahuli Garden, or commonly known as the Sustainability Farm. So the research, or the topic of my research was sustainability farming at the BYUH Lanahuli Garden. And the research question that I came up with was how can traditional and contemporary farming skills help with sustainable farming, and how it can be a source of food security for students and also for the community members. And I came about this research question because when I first went to the sustainability farm, I found it interesting that farming is also done here in Hawaii. And having a farming background from Fiji, I kind of wanted to implement some modern farming techniques, or not modern, but some of the techniques that I learned from home, and how it can help with sustainability and also with the growing food source or food security here at BYUH. So that's the main reason why I came up with this research question, because I just wanted to see how it is well done here, and also how I can implement some of my ideas into helping with the sustainability and resilience here at the BYU Lanahuli Garden. So
Thanks. Yeah, and you said that you had a farming background in Fiji. Were there similarities between what was being done in Fiji, what you had done in Fiji, and what was being done in Hawaii when you went on this research of yours?
yes, there's a few similarities. Well, a lot of it, because I feel like living in Hawaii is almost the same as living in Fiji, farming wise. But I seen a lot of similarities in terms of the way things are planted and the way things are taken care of, or the crops. So had seen a lot of similarities. So I wanted to uh, um, compare that to how it was done back home, and maybe implement some new ideas into helping it here at the garden here at Lanahuli.
Nice, nice. Yeah, and so just on your research, well, I'll put the link to your post at the bottom, just for anyone that's listening that wants to look up your poster for your presentation. But in your methods section, yeah, you had a couple of your methodology, a couple of steps into how you did your research. So it's really interesting, and I was wondering if you could like talk more about why you chose the methods that you used in this research for your anthropology class.
So the reason how I came to choose the methods that I used, it was all based around just anthropological research methods. Yeah? So these anthropological inquiries are very useful in examining the complex dynamics found in like this place, such as the BYU Lanahuli Garden. So through the application of these methods, um, I was able to research or explore the garden's landscape, the rich tapestry of agricultural, cultural, and also the communal value. So because of that, I noted down some of the methods that I will be using, like talk story, developing connections, implementing new solutions, being a participant observant, collaboration. And the purpose of this is to, collect qualitative data, and also to obtain a better understanding of the garden's many aspects, and understanding the connections between the people, culture, and the environment. Using these methods, the research that I did, or that I attempted to unravel the complex of the knowledge, the traditions, and the innovation throughout the ecosystem of the garden. Well, I was able to get more data out of it and also use it in how I try to implement some of the new things at Lanahuli Garden. So basically, in simple words, I tried using these methods. I chose these methods to better understand the connections between the people, the culture, and also the environment that I was going to be doing research in.
Nice. And I like what you're saying about trying to dive in deeper into the stories that you collect, because sometimes, as when we do research, usually we just interview people. We're just trying to find the facts. When if you talk story, like what you're saying, you can find the background, the reasoning behind why they do certain methods. So it enriches the data that you're getting. So it's not just something that you're just collecting just to put out the research. You're trying to find out the story behind it. And I just wanted to, I think, dive into that first step that you're talking about with your methods about talk story. So I come from I did my master's in my master's thesis in with a quantitative in a quantitative methodology. So it's all data. There's not a lot of, it's all impersonal. There's no interview one-on-one. So why did you choose talk story, and do you think it helped you um, get answers that you wouldn't have gotten if you were just doing like giving out questionnaires and then just letting them fill it up and giving it back to you?
Oh yes, definitely. I feel like Talk Story was something that helped a lot in this research, because when I did this research and when I used the method of talk stories, two things came up when in terms of like trying to enable trust with the community, and also not just with the community but the workers as well at the at the garden or at the farm. The first thing is the cultural understanding. So talk stories allowed me to gain a deeper insight of the cultural values, the traditions, the beliefs of the community, what they are studying. And also through this, the participants were able to, or the people there working there with the community were able to share personal experiences and perspectives that provide rich contextual understanding. And the second thing is building relationships. In engaging with this method of talk story, it helped me build trust with all the participants there at the garden. And by actively listening to their stories and also sharing in dialogue, and well, I was able to establish a meaningful connection, not just being there to just talk and do those things and try to gain more information, but rather I established a meaningful connection that enabled me to facilitate further data collection and collaboration. So using Talk Story in my field notes and in my methods, I was able to interact with them meaningfully. I was able to talk to not just the students, but also people from the community as well, and the garden workers. So I was able to learn more about the cultural significance of the garden. I was able to know of the effects it had on the neighborhood, and also the perspectives of those that participated in the like services and the activities that are always held there at the garden. So I feel like Talk Story was one of the main methods, and it was one of the ones that was very helpful in terms of my research.
Nice. Yeah, because I found it interesting because talk story is really similar to like the talanoa methodologies that's being used in the Pacific. And I think it's like you said, it's a methodology that really should be used within I think all types of research, but specifically in Pacific research, because it helps establish trust, it helps build relationships, like you were saying. So yeah, I really found it interesting. Now, with the findings of the research, is there an example of traditional and contemporary farming methods that you think or that you found within your research?
Yes. So one thing that I found very interesting here is how they try out so many different types of farming methods for one particular crop. One thing I found interesting was when I was doing my research, and I found out that because back at home, we've only known one way of planting sweet potato. So here it's commonly known as uwala, but that's a sweet potato. So one thing that I found very interesting when I was doing my research is that they have three different ways of planting uwala here at the garden. So the first is that they make box plots and then they fill it with soil and then they just plant uwala in it. The second is when I had asked what kind of method it was, they said it was a traditional type of farming method here in Hawaii, where they don't make any mounting of the soil, but they just put boundaries of rocks and then they just plant uwala in it. And the third is they do mountings, which is what I've always known of how to plant sweet potatoes back home is they make mountings and then they plant the uwala. But I found it very interesting because um, they were looking for the best type of method that was gonna work best for the sweet potato, um, which shows that um, first is that they have a lot of land to use, and the second is that they they are in the process of trying to find out what works best for the farm, for the community, and also for the students. So I found that very interesting because I got later got to know is that they were trying all these different methods to see which outcome or which of the methods would produce more rather than just small amounts and very little what the outcome is going to be. So that's what I found very interesting when I was doing my research on the farming methods.
Yeah, and what really struck me from what you just said is you saying that they're open-minded, yeah, to try new methods and things like that. And it almost sounds like a science experiment, where you have like you're trying different methods and then you're trying to see what yields the best results. Yeah? So it's really interesting. And with kumala, which is the Fijian word for sweet potatoes, it's always something that I hold dear to my heart because that's what we used to plant in Queen Victoria School when I was when I went to boarding school. On Saturdays, we'd go and clean up the Kumala plots, and like what you said, it's just that mound method that we use in Fiji. So I think it's really interesting and I think the lesson that I got from that is, two other ways to plant the Kumala, but also to be open-minded, yeah. Because if you're open-minded, you're willing to try new things, try new methods, new ways, and I don't think it just applies to Kumala planting. I think it applies to life as something that we could all learn from. So, is there contemporary? Well, that's a contemporary. That's a part of contemporary methods, yeah.
Yeah.
The using like other ways and things like that. Do they use a lot of irrigation systems? Is there like technology used or?
There's not many that is used, but they are trying to get into that. I feel like most of the things or most of the crops that are planted here are done traditionally, and the ways of looking after them is done traditionally as well, where they use like just weeding, watering, and also like sometimes they just use organic pest controls. Like if they have to take care of the cabbage farm, um, they usually use the banana leaves. So in that way, like cabbage moths, they just feed off of that, or even caterpillars. So some things like that. But in terms of like the irrigation system, they're slowly implementing that. They're doing like water efficient irrigation equipments, and they're starting to use that on taro. So I've only seen that being used on taro, but every other crop I haven't seen it being used. So it's slowly being integrated into their farming methods. Yeah. So
Yeah, and so I know you said this was part of a project for your minor, anthropology. But is there something or some things that you learned from this research that you think could apply to mathematics or to, you know, academics or life in general? And you don't have to take your time with answering this. I know it's a curveball, but I just wanted to really see what you thought. Did your research help you? Anthropology research, did it help you in understanding mathematics? A subject that a lot of, well, me personally, I don't really like mathematics, so it'll be really interesting to see if there's something that you could pull from anthropology that would help you in mathematics and or help you in life in general.
yes, I feel like there's so many things that I've learned that could apply to what I'm working towards. It could apply to anything in general. Like something that you had mentioned, or what we had talked about was being open-minded, seeing that um, they are looking for ways to be more sustainable. They are very open-minded to ideas. They are very open-minded to um, methods that would help the garden in flourishing and in being more um, sustainable, well, basically developing. Yeah. So that's one thing that I learned, was to always be open-minded when it comes to like opportunities, when it comes to um, doing things in relation to maths, or in relation with math, and also in me trying to find a career that relates to math. Yeah. So it's not always gonna be like what you planned will be what will happen, or what will be happening, but rather there'll be some things that will come your way that will divert your thoughts, or will also like somehow it can make you learn a lesson, and also um, you'd want to take a path different from what you had planned. Like for me, I when I'm taking math right now, well, applied math, it's a pre-engineering course. So I want to go into aircraft engineering, or I want to go into aviation or pilot school. But then I sat down with some people or some professors who had taken math majors before, and they had a different thing planned for their life, but then they ended up being professors, being teachers. So they were very positive in the way that they opened up their mind to other opportunities that were available, that helped them gain more knowledge, and still they work towards what they want to become in life. So I feel like that's something that this research had helped me um, with not only anthropology, but with math and also in life. And with all those methods that I use with talk story, I used collaboration method, involving community. I got more knowledge, and I tried to be more positive about things. When things don't work out, there's always a plan B, there's always a plan C, D. So that's something I got out of this research. So
Nice. Yeah, I love that. And I think those are just some lessons that, everyone should be trying to learn. Like what you said with being open-minded, with careers, if we all have plans, and sometimes we like to just have those plans, go to fruition, but most times, and with life, there's always changes, there's always, setbacks or new opportunities, and it's always good to be open-minded, yeah, to stay flexible, to understand that, when things change, just readjust or pivot. So I think that was really good. Those are some really good thoughts that you brought over. So thank you so much for sharing those. Um, so I think another thing that I wanted to ask is, with applied mathematics, if applied mathematics and your anthropology minor Like what are your plans in the future? Like you said, you wanted to go into aircraft engineering or into pilot school. As of now, what are your thoughts, or what is the career path that you want to take? Like as of now, junior, university, one more year, hopefully, or half a year, since I know you got some good brains inside of you. So just what are your plans right now, and then we'll just start working from there.
Thank you. So this is something I've been thinking about a lot, especially with this research conference that just finished. It went along with a career conference, yeah. And knowing that there's a demand for engineers, there's a demand for teachers, there's a demand for pilots here and also around the world. I plan to further my education into taking or doing my master's in mathematics. That's one of the path that I am choosing to take right after I finish from BYU, and also a path that I'm also looking into taking is going straight into aircraft pilot school. So because pilot school is it's quite expensive, and there are some other classes that needs to be taken along with being in pilot school. So that is that there won't be an easy path to take. So that is why I have doing my master's in mathematics as my plan A for now, because I know that that is something, or that is a sure opportunity for me. Knowing how I'm doing right now in school, and how I'm developing and how I'm gaining more knowledge in math, taking this this path of doing masters in math, I have a lot more doors opening for me. So I can go into education, I can go into uh, financial statistics, doing data analysis, and then you have the career of aircraft engineering and pilot school. So taking this path and hopefully getting there, it just opens up more doors, opens up more opportunities for me, and just enables me to get more job opportunities over in anywhere that I will go. So that is the plan for now. That is what I'm planning to do right after I finish from here.
Yeah, and I think just a follow-up question for that. Yeah, sometimes when me personally, when I was in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do after high school. I didn't know what I wanted to do after my degree, my bachelor's. So it's interesting that you already have those, plan A, plan B, plan C. Do you know where you got that, the thought of having those like different backup plans? Do you know where that thought came from, or is it something that you were taught in school or at home, to have a plan, a set plan, but also have um backup plans as well?
I think it all began in school, in high school. One thing that I've always been driven to do is, one thing that always drives me to become better is the motivation to become successful. And I've seen so many successful people. I've met so many successful people, and the thing that drives me the most into becoming successful is my parents. So the reason why I have so many plans, or so many, not plans, so many backup plans, is because I know that I can do all of these things. I know I have the capability. I know I have the motivation to do this. And thinking of how my parents got me this far is making me hunger for that success. And I guess the reason why I just have all these backup of backups is because I want to do something with my life that would make an impact on not just my parents, but my siblings, and also people at home uh, who are coming up and not at this stage yet. So That's the reason why I've always been driven to become successful and have these many plans. Just because I want to be not just be successful, but also be a motivation to others as well.
This podcast is proudly sponsored by Selfless Fiji, a volunteerism organization, nonprofit that brings people together of all walks of life to contribute their time, effort, and resources in building our communities and people. Life of volunteering is fun and filled with life-changing memories and character building, as well as network building. If you want to donate or volunteer for Selfless Fiji, go onto their website at selflessfiji.com. This podcast is also sponsored by Cultural Fit, a LinkedIn newsletter that talks about the Pacifica culture and business news all around the world. This podcast is also sponsored by Alfred Tora blog, Everything Pacifica, Culture and Business. So visit alfredtora.org.
Nice. And then I think that what you just your answers just made the perfect segue into like one of what I wanted to talk to next day. So we were talking about our future plans and things like that, but you also mentioned when I asked about how you got that, that mindset is you mentioned your high school and your parents and your family. So where you are right now as a junior, almost finishing with your bachelor's degree in applied mathematics, what are some things that helped you along the way to get to here? Like what motivates you specifically, like with your family, with your parents, with high school? So maybe just focus on high school for now. Like, is there something that within that environment that you grew up in high school in, how has it helped you become what you are right now? Because I know my high school was pretty influential in how I turned out, and I know it's different. It may have some similarities, being both boys schools, but like I know there's differences too. So what do you think were some things from high school that helped you? Maybe two things, and then maybe two lessons that your parents taught you that helped you come to BYU Hawaii and to be where you are right now.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. So two of the things that came to mind when I'm thinking back to high school is the first is seeing how many successful people have come through that school and wanting to maintain that reputation, not just for the school but for myself as well. But before I could have that mentality of being, upholding my reputation in school, the other thing is the way I was being taught in school. It's not always about, math or physics. It's not always about the things that the teachers teach. But coming from an all boys school, it taught me to be disciplined. It taught me to stand up for yourself, to be, strong in all that you do, schoolwork, in sports. It also taught me to be competitive, and also working with just boys and um, seeing how life is, just living around boys or just being with boys every single day. It's it's not it's not an easy thing to do where you have to try and come out of your comfort zone to be around uh, people you don't know, especially when it's of the same gender. So that taught me discipline, that taught me self-respect, that taught me strength and standing up for myself. And in that way, I try to uphold my reputation and the school's reputation in seeing how people that has come through there in the past being successful and learning the same things that I learned and to getting to where they are. So seeing that, I had the mentality of, you know, I can be that, I can do that one day, I can reach that level. So that taught me to um, always choose the right thing to do in school and following the right peers and just doing the right thing, learning a lot. And two things that I learned from my parents. So I'm not gonna lie and being honest, and I know this is the same for a lot of people that are going to be watching, and I know it's the same thing for you too, that, we all come from a struggling family. And I came from a very struggling family that um, it got to a point where we only had my dad, who was a sole breadwinner in the family, who had to put food on the table, who had to send us to school with the little amount that he was getting. So I got to see the struggle, and that's something that I do not want to put my family through. I want to help them in being better. Basically, having, um, well, not to be rich, but to help provide and help help my family be, have a happy home, have something that, or have a very sufficient home. So seeing how my parents struggle, I had to struggle too. I cannot put that struggle to waste by doing some other thing. But seeing this opportunity that came up of coming to BYU and furthering my studies and not having to put a financial burden on my parents, I took that opportunity, and you know, not having them worry about my financial statements or my financial situations. And that's something I have to deal with, because here at BYU, I get to come to school and work and pay off my own schooling, and then further my education and find further opportunities, scholarships, and fundings and support. So I just want to help my family and take my family away from that. So yeah.
Yeah, and I like what you said, because I think from your answers, I think the two things that I got from it was, you had really good role models both in school and with your family, with your father and your mother, obviously. Yeah? But having good role models to look up to, that that have taught you, values, that have taught you to fight, that have taught you to strive to not only help yourself but also to help your community, help your family, have a better life. Yeah. So I think that was one thing, the having good role models. And then the experiences. Yeah, you're talking about how you've seen people within the school that have gone to do great things. Those experiences that you've had in school yourself, but then also the experiences within the family. It's helped you to understand that there are harder things in life than going to school. Yeah, there are harder things in life than just the math problem that you're probably doing in classes, and then those experiences have helped you to understand that when we go to school, and like you said, with BYU Hawaii, that's such a great opportunity, because the financial burden isn't on your family. You're not putting it on your family again. Yeah, it's something that you can work towards, and um something that they don't have to worry about. So understanding that these life experiences helps us, and it helps us become better people, and it helps us to strive and to be passionate about school or whatever we're doing to try and help our family. Yeah? And I think just with those things in mind, school is hard by itself, but to be far away from your family, and I know you just got recently married, but how important do you think community is to focusing in school, but also being far away from Fiji and from your family? How important do you think the community in BYU Hawaii and the people around you there, your professors, and how important do you think they are in helping you along with school? Because I know I think now, with people listening, they'll hear some a baby crying in the background. Don't worry, this podcast not haunted. It's because Emosi is living in TVA, so he's living in the merit quarters for the university. So there's a lot of families there that have all left the comforts of their home to go to school, and so that's why I wanted to ask, how important is community in ensuring in helping you to finish your school or to succeed in life?
Um, yes. So this community, the community helps a lot. It's very important in terms of, just like you were saying, we're very far from home. So when we leave home, we come by ourselves. We don't bring our parents. We don't bring our siblings, but we come solely for education. And one thing that comes with education is stress, depression, and that's why I think that the community that we have here is very important. So when we build all this relationship, when we build trust, when we get to know people of the community, one thing that it helps with is relieving or getting away from stress. So that's one thing, that's one very important thing for me, is because when when we start getting to know people of the community, when we start making friends, we can do other things apart from school, like um, going on hikes on weekends, going to the beach, doing all this other stuff that deviates our attention from school. And that's one of the important things. The other important thing is supporting us in school, because school is why we're here. So when we have the right support, when we have the right peers to always help us, to motivate us, to help us in assignments that are hard, to always be there for us when we need help, these are some of the reasons why having this community is very important. And one thing about this place is that the Fijian community over here is very big. It's grown a lot over the years. And because a lot of us are far away from our families, we depend on these people here in this community to, to help us, to give insights, be a motivation for us, because some of them have gone through this process. Some of them have gone through school and they know what it's like. And also being married and being in school at the same time, having to balance those two out, it's not very easy, but it's something that comes with working together. Most of the time, my wife is someone that I depend on a lot, and me and her, when we find it hard, then we find help within the community. But she's someone I depend on a lot, and I hope that I'm someone that she depends on a lot too. But yes, it's very important to have people around. It's important to have or to know the people in the community and to build a relationship and trust with them.
Yeah, I like that. And I think I like what you said about both, being married and having that support system from your spouse to, to motivate you. I know sometimes, it's hard to juggle life and school and then a married life at that. But I think, I'm married and I wouldn't trade it, and I wouldn't, trade it for the world. Because I'm sure she's one of your biggest supporters there. And then also having that help from the community, to help you with outside of school, where, like you said, they have those activities, they have, go hiking, just to get your mind off of school. Because, sometimes when with pressure, you got to make sure that you take breaks and things like that, but also in school. Yeah. And I really like that idea. And so I think the last thing that I wanted to ask Emosi is, what's something that you would want the youth back in Fiji, back in the islands, wherever they may be, or wherever in the world that they are, what's one advice that you would give them to help them find what they want to do in life? Because I know in Fiji, it's hard for our youth to go to find opportunities. Yeah, it's a small country. There's the government's doing its best, I guess, but it's hard for people to. Some people think that you have to go to university, or some people think that you don't have to go to university, and sometimes they don't want to take that risk. It's a big risk that you took to go to Hawaii. I'm sure it was a big decision that you had to make, but what's one advice that you would give um, a 16-year-old boy from Marist that lives in the dorms there in Marist and has he wants to do big things in life? What is one advice that you would give to him so that he can use it to choose the path that he wants to go down?
Yeah. So it just took me back to one time when, going back to when I was 15 or 16, and then I was asked the question of why do you want to become what you aim to become? And then I was giving all these answers, and then they kept repeating the question, but why do you want to become that? Why do you want to do that? And the simplest answer that they were looking for is because I know I can do it. So to anyone out there that's looking to, or that's aiming for a career in life, just know that you have the capability to become whatever you want to become in life. You have the resources, you have the help, you have the brains to become whatever you want to become in life. And I'm not going to lie, it doesn't really matter what qualification you have. It also is based on the experiences and the skills that you bring to the table. So with that, and also with the enhanced learning and the improvement that you want to bring to what you already have, you will go a long way in life. And two main things that I could think of is being committed in whatever you do and being consistent, which brings me to what one of my favorite actors would always say, Denzel Washington, and he would say, without commitment, you could never start. But more importantly, without consistency, you can never finish. So meaning, if you want to become something in life, you have to be committed to what you want to do. You have to be committed in your studies. You have to be committed in being better. Stay away from the things that will make you step out of your goal. And the most important thing is to be consistent. Once you're on that path, be consistent, keep improving, keep going, and you'll get there eventually. Even if it takes 20 to 30 years to get to where you want to go, you'll get there. And it doesn't matter how old you are. If you graduate at the age of 30, that's fine. If you get your career job at the age of 40, that's still fine. As long as you achieve and as long as you get what you plan to do in life. But it all comes with motivation. It all comes with consistency, with commitment, and how bad you really want to get there. So in saying that, keep driving, keep doing what you are doing, and find things to motivate yourself into becoming what you want to be in life.
Naka, and thank you so much for quoting Uncle Denzel Washington from Lomaiviti. I think that was a really good quote. And no, while you were saying that, on a serious note, I think one of my favorite quotes that came to mind just when you were saying that was, if you think you can or you think you cannot, you are right. Meaning that, whatever you put your mind to, if you say you can't do this, you won't be able to do it. And if you say you can, then just keep going at it. So thank you so much, Emosi. This is Emosi Sukanaivalu, BYU Hawaii. Junior, he's doing applied mathematics. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you so much for sharing the research that you did with Lanahuli Gardens in BYU Hawaii. Thank you so much for the advice, the lessons that you've taught us, and hopefully we can run this back whenever you're free. But pinakawalevu kainungu.
Thank you so much, Alfred, for the opportunity. Thank you.
Naka.